Hi, everyone. Happy to be here with Corie. And
Hey.
I have a Substack called Wandering Willow. And I think it's a pretty apt name because my thoughts wander a lot, as well as my body. So, any way you can wander, I try to do that. So, Wandering Willow is where I write on Substack. And it came about due to training as a forest therapy guide. It actually, when I was training as a forest therapy guide, that is when I fell back in love with writing. Writing had
Mm,
been something that I did as a teenager, kind of as a way to express my emotions, and did that in my 20s and then kind of lost it in my 30s. And then in my, well, late 30s, almost 40, when I became a forest therapy guide, that's when I came back to writing. And forest therapy really allows that space for creativity, and writing came naturally from there, honestly.
yeah. What inspired you to become, yay, Tammy's saying how beautiful that you returned to writing, Sam.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you return to writing or it just returns to you, right?
Yeah, that's true. Both, yeah.
So what inspired you to become a forest guide?
Yeah, so it's one of those things. I don't know how it landed in my lap, but it did.
Hmm.
Um, it was after the pandemic, when everyone's mental health just tanked, like mine tanked hard. And man, I did all the things you were supposed to do, right? Therapy and medicine and just like all of it. And it would help, but like it was like a band-aid on top of like a broken bone. It's like, okay, well, it sort of helps, but it's not really getting everything. So I just went down an internet rabbit hole, was like, okay, like what else can I do for my mental health? Like clearly this stuff is not working.
Hmm.
And it hasn't for years, honestly, but it took the pandemic to really be like, okay, this isn't it like for you. You have to figure this out. And just that internet rabbit hole took me to forest bathing. I don't and I like again, I don't even know how that happened. Like it was definitely like divine like information just dropping down.
Yeah.
And as soon as I read about it, I had this visceral reaction. I was like, this is for me and I want to do this. Having just found out about it 5 minutes before. So like just reading the description, I was like, this is for me.
So what were you doing before you were a forest guide? Just to kind of
Oh yeah.
rewind.
That's been kind of a winding path.
Mm.
I think I've always had some kind of artist in me. My teenage self wanted to be a pastry chef, and so I went to culinary school and got a degree in pastry arts, and that was a really fun time in my life. And I wanted to have my bakery, and then like the real world hit, and I worked for like a baker, a small business, and it just went really bad, really bad. Get paid, just bad vibes in there. So that kind of soured owning a bakery for me. And then after that, I tried to stay in like baking and stuff, but I ended up being just in like food service. And I feel like everyone should work in food service at least once in their
They're
life
gonna be
because
so much nicer.
yeah, like just to learn what it's like. So yeah, honestly, I do feel like that has shaped me as a human being. Um, and made me want to not be around people for a really long time. So I went and got an office job, and that was really soul draining in a different way. Um, but ultimately, what did I end up doing was I was in the title industry for like houses and stuff, people's homes, and I got moved to a department where um, one of the things is called like deed in lieu of foreclosure. Like it's foreclosed homes, and people are giving the banks back their homes. But essentially, I'm helping banks get their money back for people losing their homes on a daily basis. And I thought I could separate myself from that, but I don't think I did. And that was the last thing I did before my mental health tanked during the pandemic. So, and then that's what brought me to forest bathing. Like,
Wow.
not even a little bit alike.
And I know Tammy was saying, yes, it's a spiritual experience, like just the whole thing, like writing, bakery, and forest bathing. Um,
in
so
food
my
service.
and food service. It's
Yeah.
so just to like go. I'm gonna take like a little detour and come back. You know, like a little part of the woods. They're like, I'm like that's not the path, but it should lean back. I worked my way. I think I was like, when I was 14. My mother's like, you need a job, and I was like, okay. And so I just got a job at a local restaurant. It's like New York City in the 80s, and they hired anyone. Like no one cared about anything.
Yeah.
So I was a waitress for a long time. I worked in catering for a long time, just like as a server. And even when my back went out because I didn't know how to move my body, I just kept going. And when I see people being rude to servers, I'm like, you have no idea like how much pressure it is, and how when you walk in the kitchen, like you're getting yelled at, and then you like walk back out. It's just crazy. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. But I don't know what the word is. If it's impressed, waitress in college, it is so hard. Yeah, that is true. Um,
Props to
was you?
waiters and servers. Props.
Yeah, props. I know. So I wanted to know, like, back to like being. So you started off doing forest bathing, and then did that lead to you doing bathing and then becoming a forest guide? Like, what was the next step?
Yeah. So when I went on that mental health rabbit hole, what appeared was forest bathing, and that is a practice in Japan, which literally is in their language is in Japanese is Shinrin Yoku, which translates to forest bathing, which really kind of just means something like sunbathing, like that. You're not really naked, like sorry to disappoint. You're not actually bathing. It's like that metaphorical. You're bathing in the benefits of being in nature. And so that's a very Japanese practice is forest bathing. And since we're in the US here, and I learned with the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy, and I think it's interesting. I think we're still trying to get a deep. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out what we want to name this. I think because we want it to be accessible, and I think like nature therapy isn't really accessible to people because the word therapy can be a turn off. And then forest bathing didn't really originate here, like the term. And people think like you're literally taking a bath. So I
Mm,
think we're trying to like get clear on what exactly that is. But I don't know that we will come up with a name because it just is what it is. Like otherwise it's a little bit too heady, I think. But here we are. But
nice.
yeah, so I trained with the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy, and their take is inspired by forest bathing in Japan. Uh, the oh my gosh, I want to say the owner, but like we don't say like he's only the owner, like the
Coordinator or the guy.
the
Yeah.
founder, yeah, of ANFT, MAMS Clifford. He has been in Japan a lot. He's actually a psychologist, so I don't know. I think like that's really what drew me in. Like there's like a psychology approach to being in nature, and they weave in kind of like the oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking. The
It's fine.
hero's journey
Uh,
from Joseph Campbell. So just like those like psychological aspects were like super intriguing to me, and that's insider knowledge, so no one's supposed to know that. Like so like, if you go on a walk, you're not thinking about like I'm doing the hero's journey right now, but like that's kind of how we base them. So,
yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
so yeah, in short, like forest bathing and forest therapy are the same thing. It's just like the American way of calling it as forest therapy, but people use it interchangeably.
Yeah, definitely. And then how long have, two questions, like how long have you been doing it? And like, yeah, that's the first one. That's like a super fast one.
um 3 years. 2 years ago is when I got my like official certificate. So like 2 3 years.
And where do you do this?
Yeah, so I loved it because it was online. Like actually props to the pandemic, no offense. Um but like one of the good things to come out of the lockdowns and things like that, we're learning virtually, and I think that was much more accessible to me to learn to be a forest therapy guide that way. because a lot of them were like on the West Coast and things like that, like for like weeks on end in the West Coast in person, and that was not accessible to me. But yeah, we learned for 6 months online in groups every week, and then last year, or I'm sorry, 2 years ago, I did my final immersion, which is about a week in person with everyone, like in nature. So
Where do you do the actual like bathing or forest therapy with people? Like
where I do
location?
it with people, or
Yeah, where
so
you actually guide people into forest areas.
yeah, where in our training they said, like I think Amos Clifford himself said, wherever there's nature you can forest bathe. So if you're in a parking lot with a tree, like you can do it right there. So yeah, that's pretty much. I There's a state park that I go to, Raccoon Creek State Park, shout out. Um that's one
What
of my
state?
favorite.
Actually, what state is that in? For those who don't know,
Oh, I'm sorry.
like
Yeah, so I'm
it's
in
okay.
Weirton, West Virginia. Yeah, I'm in Weirton,
Hmm.
West Virginia, and so it's like southwestern PA is pretty much like my closest area. Honestly, I do a lot of virtual forest bathing because there's some red tape around leading people and either getting paid or not getting paid in nature. So um, I'm
Hold
virtual.
on a second. I'm gonna do like this. Sorry, the chat, like I love
Oh
it,
yeah,
but it's a little bit ADHD. So I just want to read. It's like, oh, wait, what?
go for it.
Tammy was saying this is so needed and relevant in our busy lives and perfect time for today's celebration of Earth Day. Thank you for what you do, Sam.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. No, don't be sorry.
Yeah,
It's
don't be
just like
sorry. We
this.
just
It's like
are
this.
like,
Yeah, no, it's the format. It's the format. It's like everything, and that's why forest bathing is so important because we're like the distraction that we have now is like, oh, I got an alert. Oh, I lost a subscriber. Oh, this, and it's like ground yourself in like a blade of grass or like a flower, and to bring yourself back. So, um, it's just the format. I'm joking. Um, so you actually do this with people online as well? That's really interesting.
yeah, I kind of got out of it. Like it's one of those things like about how we say on Substack, we're screaming into the void, and I kind of felt like I was doing that with my forest therapy. No one
Mm.
was coming. I was actually doing like events on Eventbrite, and no one would come, and I would just feel really awkward when I was taking their money and being like, "Hey, like, did you have any problems? Like, I noticed you didn't come," and hear nothing. And like so I couldn't even like refund people because they didn't get back to me. Like it was just I was just like, okay, I need a reset. Um and I think Substack, I've come to Substack since then, and I think I might be starting something for forest therapy online, like with Substack. So stay tuned.
Sounds great to me. Um, Stay tuned, everyone. And sorry, like okay, Batman just came to mind. Like same time, same station now, but really, um, one I want to know like because for those who like just joined, like Sam was saying earlier that she's like you tried therapy, she tried this, you tried that, and just like none of it really like hit. And so when she came across forest bathing, it was like this is for me. So like my question for you, as someone who was like born and raised in New York City, but like I was a nature girl, and like this isn't like I was in Manhattan, like concrete. And every time, but my parents both would take us apple picking, and they would take us, to Central Park. And whenever my father like saw like a dog, he'd like lick his whole face, like and they had like environmentalism as part of their like philosophy of things that they were for. Um, but then Central Park is totally a precious haven in New York City, Tammy. And this leads me to the story of Earth Day. And then I have another question for you, and then we're gonna get to hear Sam's poems. Is my first time going to Earth Day was probably like sometime early to mid 80s. And I showed up in Central Park for my first Earth Day. And I can tell you exactly what I was wearing. Like I was wearing my mother, she had like this big straw. I'm a girl, like I just know what I was wearing. Big straw hat, and then I had this like leopard. I had a leopard dress on from a thrift shop that I dyed blue. So it was like blue leopard pattern and combat boots always. And tucked into my combat boots was my pack of cigarettes. And it was really interesting because I volunteered. I also volunteered for the bookmobile, like this environmental bookmobile, and I volunteered at Wetlands Preserve. For those of you who know New York City, it was like the first environmental music club, and he raised money for environmental causes. This was like my exposure. So when I was there at Earth Day, my very first time, and I lit up a cigarette, I realized that the gap between who I was and who I wanted to be was was big, and that like being environmental is not like a philosophy, or like being, like Earth is not like an idea, like, oh, I'm all for this. It's like, was really about being in action. So I mean, I didn't put it, I put it out, but then I saw people like Earth Day, yay, and then the styrofoam going in the thing, and I was like, wow. Okay, and so it was like, it's always been like my goal, like how you were in that office job and you're like, I just can't separate it. I can't, like, I had that too. Like, I cannot separate like an idea and then what I'm doing. So that leads me to my question for you, which is thanks, Tammy. What wisdom have you learned from doing this work, like from just being in the forest and with the nature? um, and it doesn't, I don't mean it like in the ego way, like tell us your wisdom, Sam, but more like, when you're with the trees and the grass, like you listen, you can hear stuff and you can feel stuff that or receive messages from nature that um are just beyond your thoughts. So that's my question for you.
Yeah. Oh, this is the what wisdom have I received from nature? Like, it's been so much. I guess that's why I was like, oh gosh, like what do I even say? But also, it's so hard to put into words, actually. Um,
Okay.
it's just like these feelings. Y-
Yeah.
Ugh. I so you said I do want to preface that I am from a more suburban type area than like a city type area, but not quite rural. I hate that word, rural. But y'all know what I mean, right? Um, but we did grow up in out in the cut, they say around here.
Mhm.
That was actually more like out in the woods area. I mean, we had like a whole forest behind us. That was for like my first 5 or 7 years of my life. So I guess at that point I was outside a lot. And then we moved to a town where like there was like an actual town. We used to live just like on a house on a hill overlooking a trailer park, and I had no interaction with other people, so I would just go outside. And of course, that was like my most formative years, so that's where I feel most at home. But I
Mm.
think that's a universal feeling that like we feel in home in nature for most of us, because I understand that people that have been in cities their whole lives, the nature is actually kind of scary to them because they don't know it. And I guess that's we kind of do that with people. Rant. um, people we know feel like home, but people we don't know we're afraid of. And if we just get to know nature and the land like people, we would feel more comfortable in nature. So, but yeah, I do want to say, like, I'm not outside every day. Like, I think everyone thinks, like, oh, she's a nature and forest therapy guide. Oh, Tammy, thank you for being here. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Isn't she good? Do you know Tammy's work? She's so great.
Oh my gosh. I think I do. I think I follow her. There's so many great people on Substack. I apologize. I forget people's names. We need to meet and have a face to face, and then I'll remember you. But yeah, I'm not outside like every single day. Like I probably am inside more than people would think. So I just want to say like you don't have to be outside all the time to be part of nature. Like you're nature. So that's just my little thing. Did I answer your question? I was trying to.
You did actually. I love that. It's like this understanding that you're kind of scared of what you don't know. Like, growing up in the city, like you think like, oh no, it's dark out. There's no light. There's no light. There's no taxi. Like, what do I do? And that you don't understand that you're supported by nature. And you said we're kind of like that with people. There's a quote with R.L. Lang or R.D. Lang. which is we're afraid of three things in life, like ourselves, other people, and death. I think it's I botched that. I'll say, I know, right? It's like, wait, yes, 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 and yeah, okay, yeah. I'm afraid of me, I'm afraid of you, I'm afraid of dying. So that led to like a morbid place. What I want to do is I want to ask you, um, and also this idea of like that we don't have to be outside every day. So if someone's sitting there going, yeah, well, I'm a writer, I'm at home, I'm in an office, I have a Zoom, I have this, that like they can just be with nature in a different way. Like I actually brought this. I was at a health food store called Basil Bandwagon, and they were giving out free starter basil. Isn't it cute? I've been meaning to plant it
Oh my god,
in
I
like this
love
little
it so
patch
much.
of dirt. Like I had a pandemic garden, and now I'm gonna have a tariff garden.
I
So
love it.
isn't it cute?
I love
I love it's so.
basil.
Wait, what is that?
I love basil. Oh my
Is
gosh.
it? Yeah, and it's hard for me to start it from seed. I'm like, okay, it's okay, and so to get little starter plants is so helpful for me. So
Yeah,
yay, it's
that's so
so good.
cool.
Thank you.
Fun.
But that's like this little way. Like if I'm sitting here, I'd be like just to be with it in a different way. So poems. I want to hear your poems.
Okay, let's go poems.
Awesome.
Um, but yeah, like I just want to say, like, you're in nature. So if you don't even have like a window to look outside, or like a plant in your house, or a pet, which all count, by the way. Well, first off, you're drinking water and eating food, so those are nature. So yeah,
Wow.
there's just a lot of ways you can get nature. And that is my TED talk. Okay, so switching over to poem time. I will preface this since like it feels like a weird segue for me. um, so I finished up my forest therapy training 2 years ago. It feels like just like last year. Like it feels not that far away, but also far away. But
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the recipe. Spoiler. This is the poem that I crafted that day, where we took. It was the day of our solo wanders, so I didn't actually want to do it, so I wasn't feeling that great, but I did, and I'm really glad I did because this poem came up, and it's called "Recipe for Good Mud." Recipe for good mud. Bring yourself to the water's edge. Release your burdens. Place them upon the fallen leaves. Let your burdens float away. Find your joy, your blessing. Place them into the flowing water. May they bless the waters as they have blessed you. Follow the dragonfly to the mud. Shape it as you have been shaped. Here, a fellow wanderer has left a 4-letter message. HOME. This word calls forth a butterfly. Follow her to a nonlinear path. It's okay to get turned around. You can always come back home. Turtle reminds you to take things slow. You'll get there when the time is right. Flower reminds you to smile. Bald eagle shows you how to zoom out, get a bird's eye view of life. Mountains shrink when you are flying high. From here, it becomes clear. All waters flow to the same ocean. When your life is complete, return to the place from where you came. Bring it all with you. Leave nothing behind. That's how you make good mud.
Mm, I love it. Anyone who's here, just do like press the hearts. It feels good since we can't
Hearts are
see you.
great.
There we go.
Hearts is great.
Thank you. I love that. I love the dragonfly and the turtle and yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It means a lot to me because every single one of those things happened. Like I followed the butterfly that day, and I followed the dragonfly. So yeah, that really means a lot to me.
Would you
All right.
mind reading the next one? Anything, any preface you want to say or anything about it
Okay,
beforehand? I'd
yeah.
love to hear.
The rest of these I just grabbed from my poems folder, and
Yeah.
I don't really remember this next one. Well, actually, it came. Sometimes they just come to me. I'll be looking out the window. Like I said, like I don't always go outside, but looking out the window sometimes does it for me with nature. So
Hmm.
this next poem is called "Letting Go." I've been told I need to let things go. So eventually I learned to let the thieves of joy leave me, but cling to joy. I look outside my window and notice the ivy clinging to the locust trees. All that clinging leads to choking, a crushing hold that takes away life. In this clinging to live, perhaps I am dying, choking my own life force by clinging too hard to anything, even peace and joy. I must learn to be like water, ride the waves, the inevitable ebbs and flows life throws my way. I will learn to be like water, for it makes up most of me, and I will learn to not cling, but flow.
Mm, I love it. For those watching, hearts.
Thank you. Thank you for letting
Welcome.
me read these.
Oh, they're great. I love how nature informs in the ivy and the water, and especially the lessons, like the presents you give it, and then the lessons we can learn between holding and then strangling and then letting go when it's right, but not letting yourself fall. It's wise. I love it. You
Thank
know
you.
I like your work. You're welcome.
I know. It feels really a little bit terrifying to read these too because like I know you're like super editor person. So I'm just like um well that first one was the only one I actually like edited. These other two I just kind of found, so we're going with them.
I like to meet, just so you know, like I like to meet I was a poetry editor for a long time, and I will tell you, it took me a few years to get my own writing back and my own voice back. It's like, oh, just write, and I like to meet a poem where it's at. And then I revise my work like a lot, but that's just because I'm neurotic, and I keep going until I don't have any part of me going. "Ugh." That's just me, but I enjoy hearing your poetry very much. You know that.
Okay. Well, thank you. It still doesn't take my edge off, but thank you.
Let me get the basil back. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Basil. Hi,
Basil.
Basil. Oh my gosh, you're so cute. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Hang out with me, Basil.
Totally.
Validate me, Basil.
Absolutely.
Okay. This last one that I have is called Any Wings Will Do because I'm just outside watching the vultures. It took me a while to figure out they were vultures. So this is your first therapy guide right here. She doesn't know what vultures look like. So she's learning. She has the Merlin app. It's okay. But yeah. This one's called Any Wings Will Do. Translucent, iridescent, like a honeybee. Red with dots, like a ladybug. Long and dark, like a crow. Beautiful and bright, like a butterfly. Short and quick, like a hummingbird. To defy gravity. To hover above the earth. To flit from flower to flower. To ride the wind. I'd gratefully accept any way to fly as gracefully as nature.
Mm, beautiful. I love all the colors in that one. Hearts, hearts, hearts,
Thank
hearts.
you.
I'll do the hearts. You know, I like to do hearts.
I mean, if I see an empty heart, I just feel like I have to fill it. Here you go.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask if anyone has any questions for Sam about her work as a forest guide or a forest bather, um, to ask away. I will read it. I just said it so botched. I'll read it in the messages or any question about the poems. Or Sam, if you have anything you want to share before I move to anything else, share with us or have any questions.
I do just have a quote I want to share
Yeah.
from Robin Wall Kimmerer, unless you had one to share from her or something. Okay. I was like, I don't want to steal your quote. Okay.
Oh, who is
Um,
this? Robin who? Who is this?
Robin Wall Kimmerer, she wrote Braiding Sweetgrass. She's an indigenous botanist and author, obviously,
Mm.
since she wrote a book, but yeah, I just love her. Uh, and I feel like it informs my work, this sentence, and it informs the work of ANFT, quite honestly. So here goes. This quote is from Robin Wall Kimmerer. Knowing that you love the earth changes you, activates you to defend and protect and celebrate. But when you feel that the earth loves you in return, that feeling transforms the relationship from a one-way street into a sacred bond.
Oh my gosh, that is life-changing.
It really
Wow.
is.
Can you read that again?
Yeah, I was like, you want me to read that again?
Yeah, totally.
Knowing that you love the earth changes you, activates you to defend and protect and celebrate. But when you feel that the earth loves you in return, that feeling transforms the relationship from a one-way street into a sacred bond. From Robin Wall Kimmerer, from Braiding Sweetgrass, highly recommend. That's a good Earth Day book.
Yeah, you gotta put that in your notes. It reminds me of when I first started, like in May 2020, I was challenged to a 21-day meditation challenge. And here's the funny part. At first I said no because the person who presented the challenge didn't invite me to her wedding and I invited her to mine. This is where I was at. And I was like, no.
We all
And
were,
then,
yeah.
yeah, and then I was like, what am I doing? And then I said yes, and then she re-invited me after there being no room. And then and every day it was like listening to Deepak Chopra and then answering these, doing these exercises. And I took it so to heart that I pasted it all over my refrigerator. And my kids were a little younger at the time, so we had lots of, refrigerator magnets. And at one point, and then around day 2021, I had this like wake up, and it was the first time I saw my own thoughts. And
Wow.
ever since then, and I've always had these inklings because I think when you write poetry, it's like you're searching for something. There's some part of you that doesn't want to be diminished, and some light in you that doesn't want to go out, or some darkness that needs to be expressed. Because I do think that we're all learning how to hold darkness in its own beauty. And but then I was like, oh my God, I'm me. I'm responsible for my whole existence. It's not all my son's fault. I'm the one who's whoa. And um, during this practice, and I continued to listen to the same meditation for a couple of years straight because
Wow.
I was like Cinderella in her slippers. I didn't want to go back. And I was like, I need to re-brainwash myself. So there's this
Mhm.
quote, and it reminded me of the quote that you read. And I think Deepak Chopra he was explaining that what grace is, it's not some religious thing, or not necessarily, it doesn't have to be, how about this? It is a religious thing. It doesn't have to be for religion. It has to be like, it came like when you are grateful for something and that thing is grateful for you back, whether it be a person or a flower or the earth or an animal. And for me, as a recovered people pleaser, I couldn't imagine anyone being grateful for me back. I didn't exist. I was
Yeah,
there to keep people safe and happy so they didn't hurt me. And
yeah,
that was that other part of the week, like, whoa. So your quote from Robin Wall Kimmerer about like creating this relationship with the earth, and then the earth creates a relationship with you back, is like so moving. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So I'm not very good at leaving pauses. So let me pause before I jump. Hmm. Beautiful. I brought some poems that were not mine that I thought would be really inspiring to read on Earth Day. How does it sound to you that I read them?
I love it. Let's go.
Hey. All right, perfect. These were really fun to compile. Oh, and then I did a found poem for Earth Day too, so I'll do that
Oh,
afterwards.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So what
I
are
love
these?
those found poems.
Thank you.
My
Oh,
favorite.
here's one. They're actually really hard to do, I have to tell you, but like,
Yeah.
and I don't give up on it, and I put aside a certain amount of time, and I put
Mhm.
that near to first in my day. And then like highly focused. This morning I was like, I don't have time, I have to go out, so I woke up before dawn, but I got to see the red sunrise, so it was worth it.
Nice.
I know. So this one is Ode to Dirt by Sharon Olds.
Mhm.
Dear Dirt, I am sorry I slighted you. I thought that you were only the background for the leading characters, the plants and animals and human animals. It's as if I had loved only the stars, and not the sky which gave them space to which to shine. Subtle, various, sensitive, you are the skin of our terrain. You're our democracy. When I understood I had never honored you as a living equal, I was ashamed of myself, as if I had not recognized a character who looked so different from me. But now I could see us all, made of the same basic materials, cousins of that first exploding from nothing in our intricate equation together. Oh, dirt, help us find ways to serve your life. You who have brought us forth and fed us, and who at the end will take us in and rotate with us and wobble and orbit.
Wow.
I know. It's like, oh, I just came across that one and I love it.
I
So
love that it just starts Dear Dirt. Like,
I know.
yeah,
Just Dear Dirt, Sharon's work or Sharon Olds' work. It's so like erotically innocent, if that makes sense. Like she goes really like all the way deep into her core and her sex and her being and to like just but also like this childlike wonder, like Dear Dirt. Wow. So maybe I'll post these so everyone can get them.
I love that it's a prompt too, like for a poem today, like Dear Dirt. Like I'm writing that down.
Yeah, definitely. So this is your prompt, everyone. So put on the notes and tag Sam and me if you wrote your own Dear Dirt poem. So there we go.
Yeah, heck
Check
yeah,
this out
that's
later.
cool.
I love that.
Do it, Dear Dirt.
Do do it. This is like good peer pressure. Do it. Do it.
Do
Write the
it.
poem about. Here's my New York accent. Yo, write the poem about dirt. Yo. Okay.
Just do it.
Yo, you gotta write that poem. I'm gonna mess you up. No, okay. So now next is when I first started like practicing yoga in earnest. That was also my during the pandemic. I was like, I need something. And so one of like my oldest, dearest, closest friends who edits every single one of my poems that I put on Substack, she's like, "Well, how about you do?" We went to grad school or college together. It's a long story, but we studied poetry together, and she's a yoga instructor. So I was like, I can't do it without you. She turned me on to yoga, and what was the whole point of this? I have no. Oh, the point was making fun of myself a little bit. My kids were like, "Who is this woman?" She has suddenly embraced nonviolent communication, refuses to yell, rephrases everything in this OTFM, which is like OF, it's observation, feeling, thought, request. And like, I forgot what it stands for, and I actually forgot the letters. And I was like really careful with my language, and I was practicing yoga. And so we came with this joke. It was like, I would be like, yo, Om Namo, motherfucker. Like, it was like Sadhguru meets Die Hard. So that's what I'm doing. You got to keep it real.
Yeah, dude.
So Mary Corie bugs out. Mary Oliver, she's like the default nature poet, and then also she's part of what inspired me to write my yoga poems because I was like, before every yoga practice, they'd read Mary Oliver. I'm like, I love her work, but why not
Oh
read a
wow.
poem? Why not read a poem about yoga,
Oh
right?
wow.
And not like a really up there poem, like a poem about what you're doing here with this movement. So,
Yeah, I
yay.
don't interrupt, but I want to say obviously Mary Oliver is like the biggest influence on everything, like writing and forest therapy actually. So I just gotta give her a shout out.
Totally. Well,
The other
someone,
side, whatever. But yeah.
her story too, and I've seen her read live, like her, back when she was live, like she's so humble also. And I think that's what, like being in
Mhm.
the forest, or like you said earlier, like we are nature. Like you're drinking water and becoming water. Like I'm gonna take that with me. Like I got chills when you said that. But her relationship with water, with nature, like she would bring her dog into the woods, and she had like a very, very difficult life. And so it wasn't like, it's like she did it because she had to, and she gave us so much, so much. So how else can I not read The Summer Day? Right? We all know this, not we all know this, but if you don't know this poem, you're in for a treat. If you do know this poem, just take it in again. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass. The one who is eating sugar out of my hand. Who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down. Who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she shifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one precious life? How can you like hear anytime I hear that poem, it's like I'm like, yeah, what should I do with this life?
I know that last line is like the most killer poetry ending
I
like
know,
ever.
I know.
It's one of my favorites. People often misquote it to Glennon Doyle, and I want to just say that it's Mary Oliver. What are you
Oh
going to do with your
wow.
one wild and precious life? It is my girl Mary. Thank you very much.
Yay, Mary. I like that. It's good to correct. All right, so this one's Wendell Berry. It's The Piece of Wild Things. And this one was the first time I read this one. It was actually on a store, like an eco store window, um, next to like this big impression of herons. I was very excited for this poem.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's life may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free.
That's another one of my favorites. Yeah.
It's so important to keep in mind right now, like there's so much anxiety. Like just keep grounding yourself in nature, take care of nature, let it take care of you, and try to keep that inner peace. I think I'll read one more. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna read today's found poem and wrap it up because I
Oh
gotta
yeah.
go pick up my kid. This one, for those who, that really quickly, I've been every day for National Poetry Month, I go um, into the notes and I pull lines. It's really messy as my text to write a new poem. So today's poem is day 22 of this process, and I just pulled quotes from different people. From April Messenger, Modern Biology. I used their quote as my epigram. Elizabeth Cottrell, Beth Kempton, Caitlin Ramsey, Ali Jolie, Gray Galaxy, Desert Mindfulness Musing, Dear Girl Patrice, Tiffany Chu, Carlita Shaw, Maya Dore, James Cruz, Terry Lee, who you know, the Starfire Codes, and Naomi Wild Mama, who I use a lot of hers. So this one is titled It's Earth Day. So you see I take the lines and I put them, I like to leave a lot of space in my poems.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And then there's a quote: "The earth is not only the environment, the earth is us. And taking care of the earth is taking care of ourselves." The earth laughs in flowers, roses in the morning sun, lily of the valley unfolding into light, rhubarb in the garden cheering you on in your dreams. I'm convinced the earth would heal if we noticed how the wind whispers in our ears, how the sky changes before a storm, alive, embodied, sacred. The stars and the earth collide, real, raw, and intimate. Wild cherries spy on the moon. Little body lyrics unfold into who they truly are. Flowers can dance and help us grow our hearts bigger. Flexible branches telling everyone in fraught times we need beauty the most. Kindness begins with the light touching your skin. Listen to your body whisper. Your heart is a garden, a poem, the soil singing. I am the one who remembers the wild edges of earth. Let's make room for her voice here too. Mm.
That is so good. I didn't read that today. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you reading it is like another level too, but oh my gosh, that was so powerful. And what a great way to like finish out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I'm still, although I met with you this week, which has been beyond fun because we got to hang out. Fridays at 2, I'm committed, especially when I'm writing the found poems, to like reading my week's found poems and then creating one together, which was so much fun. And you were so great, where I cut out the words from the magazine
That
and then
was
I
so
paste them, and then you guys tell me like how to do it, and it turned out so beautiful. So.
that's a lot of fun. Definitely come join.
Yay. You're the
Join
best.
Corie, of course. That's Corie's thing.
It's yours too. You join too because you're super interactive. So
Oh,
Sam, thank you so much. I learned so much from you, and just learning about, because I definitely had some preconceived notions about what it means to be a forest god or to forest bathe. And so when you left that, and also taking away a lot of the shoulds from it, and understanding that I can meet it where I'm at, and it will meet me as well, it really left me with a lot. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're welcome. And thank you everyone for coming. It's like such an honor. It's like we go live and people show up. Mwah.
right?
Okay. Oh, and I'm gonna post the poems that I read in the notes. Hope you can read it. Okay. All right. Have a beautiful night. Stay safe and be well. Bye.
Bye.